All right, guys, welcome back to Crossman Productions. I hope you guys have had a great week. We have been so extremely busy this last week and had so many just amazing people come on this week. You guys got to see Chad Shaver and our latest was Chad Shaver and James Stokes, both just awesome interviews. So today I want to introduce you to another person that I met on Facebook. She's a up and coming actress, incredible person. Um, Her name is Leora Levy, and so we're going to go ahead and get to bring her in and kind of about her journey. I'm super excited about this. So give me 1 second here. Hey, Leora, how are you doing?
Hey, Parks. I'm good. How are you? Are you able to hear me okay?
Yes, we're good.
Okay. I just wanted to
So,
make sure the sound's coming through right.
oh yeah, it's coming good, coming through good. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. You know how women are with their hair and makeup and oh my God, like last minute thing, and then you mess something up and then you gotta like run around like a little
Right,
cat or a little mouse trying to fix every little thing. That's how girls are. So
right.
other than that, I'm really good. Thank you so much for inviting me
Well, yeah. Thank you so
onto
much
your program.
for being on the show. Like I said,
Yeah.
I'm excited to, to get to know you and to hear about your journey. And I know that you have a film that you're currently trying to work on. So I want to, be able to bring, talk to people about that. Talk to you about, what it is that you're doing with that. So um, we're going to go ahead and we'll get things rolling. So why don't you tell people or tell the audience where you were born and raised, and what was life like for Leora growing up?
Okay, so mine is going to be a little bit different. I was listening to your interview yesterday with James Stokes, and wonderful man. Just recently met him yesterday, and
Right.
I'm looking forward to working with him on set. I mean, he has a really beautiful heart. Really love that man already. My story is a little bit different. So, I'm sorry. Did you want to say something?
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I grew up in Chicago. I'm a Chicago girl, but I'm also a city girl and a country girl all at the same time. I have the best of both worlds. My story, my life story is very interesting because I kind of grew up in foster homes. I was my mom and my dad, and then they separated after some time. And then my mom was a cuckoo cuckoo, and there were some issues with her that caused me to be taken from her. And I ended up in like different foster homes, all over Chicago. So I've lived in bad neighborhoods, but I also lived in very good, predominant Jewish and Sephardic, Spanish neighborhoods as well.
Right.
And like I said, I lived in foster homes. I lived a lot, even like on the streets, because when back in those days when you were, I guess in foster homes, I don't know about today, when you were in foster homes, it was really just all about the check, about the money, the income. Learned to take
Right.
care of myself, kind of learned to be very independent, even as a little girl, as a young girl living on the streets, going back and forth into the homes. Basically, these homes were places where I just kind of slept, and every once in a while was able to get a meal.
Yeah.
But all of this basically it taught me to be the strong woman that I am today, the independent woman that I am today, outside
Right.
of depending on God Himself, very independent. So that's kind of like a little bit of my life story of where I grew up. Now I went from Chicago to the suburbs, and so I've lived in the country, like I said, as well, having the
Right.
best of both worlds. And
Right.
I'm very country. Like I have always been an adventurous kid, an adventurous teenager, an adventurous adventurous woman. And I was kind of person where I was okay being alone and by myself. I didn't have to be in big crowds. I didn't have to be, like back in the day in high school and grade
Right.
school, basically, there were all these little cliques, like the football and what do they call them? Girls, cheerleaders. I didn't have to be a part of anything like that. I was comfortable in my own skin. And I was basically the kind of girl that I would take my shoes off and I would go into these humongous forest preserves. I kid you,
Oh,
before they were all torn down. And I would just run through them, and I'd have all these adventurous thoughts, in my
right.
mind of being a pirate.
Oh,
Doing all of these little things. But it was kind of like my escape. It was my getaway.
right.
And, just kind of things like that. I was a part of like a dance group in high school. I was part of theater, uh, music, and things of that nature. And then at the age of 16, because of the abuse that I dealt with my mother, because I was giving back to her at some point,
Hmm.
the abuse was physical and mental. And at 16, I basically I left home, and I've been on my own ever since then.
Wow. So let me ask
Yeah,
you. So I'm actually originally from Hammond, Indiana. So I'm like right outside of Chicago. That's kind of where I grew
yeah.
up. So um, when you were going in and out of the foster home, how old were you? When did that kind of start?
I'm about 7 years old.
Oh wow. So it
Yeah,
started
7 years.
early.
I started early because of an issue, like I said, that caused the child welfare to remove me from my mother. There was
Right.
physical harm that was done to me, and so I was removed. So I've learned to be very independent and pretty wise. I'm not wise in my own eyes. I have to give all glory to God because it was really Him who has kept me. And of course, I had grandmothers on both sides that were very wise women,
Mm.
in and out and in and out. They were in and out of my lives, but not because they wanted to be. It was because of how basically the different foster homes, and then you have like contact with your aunts or your grandma, your grandpa, or a cousin or something like that. So they were very
Right.
influential in my life, and they were always leading me. I hate to say it, but I love to say it at the same time,
Right.
and very encouraging things in my life, to help me along the path that I actually chose. And,
Wow.
to be honest with you, in a lot of the areas that I lived in, I mean, everybody has a choice, Parks.
Right.
Everyone has. Either you're going to be in good company or you're going to be in bad company. And bad company will close. Okay. And I made the choice to be that good woman, that good young woman, that good little girl. Because,
Right.
I mean, in the bad area, I lived where there were gangbangs, gangsters,
Right. Right.
prostitution, drug sales. I mean, you name it. At a young age, I've seen a lot of bad things. I mean, bodies
Right.
in alleys, women that have shot themselves up, sugar daddies. I mean, you name it. I've seen it all. And that was
Right.
basically at a very young age. And then, of course, dealing with culture from both sides of my family as well. So yeah, it's a pretty rough life, but I made the choice to be the woman that I am today.
Right. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this: when you were young, you going through this from the age of 7, up till 16 when they brought you back to your mom. And the streets there are worse. You don't realize, especially with the gang violence and things that's going on out there. Um, what is it do you think that helped you at such a young age stay so grounded and not get wrapped up? Because I mean, the environment that you're in, I think it would have been easy for you to get
Hmm.
involved in you know honestly not just the gang life, but drugs is rampant out there. There's a lot of stuff that you can get yourself into. So what at such a young
Exactly.
age? what is it that you think that that kind of helped you to be able to stay out of that, and choose the path that you went through?
Well, evidently, it's going to be my faith. My
Right.
faith was what carried me and what has continued to carry me because of, again, I had two grandmothers on both sides of my family that were very strong in their faith in God and constantly, like I said, speaking into my ear, speaking into my life,
Right.
speaking into my heart. They were the type of grandmothers that literally prayed and prayed for not only me, but they prayed for, others.
Right.
But basically, because of that, I believe that a sower or a farmer, sows seed into ground and then they wait for that seed to grow. I
Right.
believe basically that that's what my grandmothers did. They were literally speaking life into my heart, life into my mind, life into my life, my future life,
Right.
my spirit. Because of that, those things were always ringing in my ear, ringing in my mind. And also because of the fact that I could say that I see so many, bad things on the streets.
Right.
Unfortunately, women selling their bodies and, doing it for money because that's what they thought was the best, and how to take care of themselves and things of that nature. But, all of those things that I
Right.
have seen and I've experienced made me want to choose to be a better person.
Right. So now, whenever they turned you back over to your mom at age 16, can you kind of talk about that? And then you said that from there you decided to just go out on your own at age 16.
Yeah, I was actually given back to my mother. Let's see, it started at about 7 when I was taken away. So basically, I
Right.
would say 3 or 4 years. I was kind of on my own. I think I was, no, a little bit later than that. I'm sorry. I was given back to her at the age of about 11, 11,
Okay.
12 years old. And it was actually illegal because we were not supposed to be given back to her. So it was an illegal act. And
Right.
that's when kind of the abuse started again, the
Right.
physical and the mental abuse started over. And the very last time it happened, now mind you, I've always been into health and fitness, so I was a pretty stocky girl at the age of 15, 16, pretty muscular, and especially in high school, physical ed and gym and things of that nature. And
Right.
so it wasn't that I couldn't fight my mom or anything like that, but
Right.
it was, even though, she was the way she was toward me, I still had the respect for her, not to put my hands
Right.
on her.
Right.
And so the last time I think it happened was I was 16 years old when we kind of, or I should say, she kind of put her fist to my face and then
Right.
some. I think it was after that that I made the decision that, I wasn't going to live in a lifestyle like that. And I
Right.
had to make the decision to leave. And it was hard, because I had to go off on my own and,
Right.
they were very difficult, but I was determined to live. I was determined to survive. I didn't want my life to end up the way I saw other people, end up in Chicago on the streets. And so I was
Right.
determined to live.
So now, when you turned 16, where did you kind of end up at?
Um, so I was working a job. It was, I don't remember if it was full time or part time, but I was working this job.
Right.
It was as a secretary.
Mhm.
And it was a girl that, she was older than me. She had her own place. And
Right.
I don't remember what her name is to the day, but um, she knew what was going on. I had become friends with her. We were working at the same facility, and she allowed me to come and, stay at her place, her apartment. And actually, it was a house. I'm sorry, it was a house. And I ended up sleeping on the floor. There was a mat like on the floor, and that's where I slept. But you know what? At that point, I was so happy to get away from the abuse,
Right.
and that even was hard because, she would invite people over on the weekends and they would smoke, marijuana.
Yeah. Right.
And that was a little hard for me because I don't like the smell of that stench. Okay. That I don't
Yeah.
like drugs. And again, it's because of everything that I have seen. I saw my mom doing drugs when I was living with her, just all kinds of things that I'm not going to get into that I have seen and
Right.
experienced. But
Right.
so yeah, I lived with her until I could 17 years old. I went to go stay with another friend who was an older woman in her 30s, and I started babysitting for her little kids, and stayed there for a while until I can, buy my own first car, get my driver's license and buy my own first car. And
Right.
then I got into security. I started getting into security. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about this, but there is military and police and security in my background, my family's background.
Right.
I'm third generation Holocaust survivor
Oh
from
wow.
Germany. So,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, I bought my first vehicle, and like I said, I got into working for security at Motorola, and one
Okay.
thing just led to another. Just I did some freelancing, modeling. I did, like I said, not a lot of acting. I should say it was more or less like dancing.
Right.
I was in a group, and it was just the three of us, and we would kind of like go to different places and we would like perform and we would dance. It was nothing humongous, just like little things
Right.
that we loved as a girl group. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So let me ask you this. So, going through all the stuff that you went through, I mean, that's tough such a young age. Where is it in that, during that time frame that you kind of found your purpose and your passion?
um I would say it was probably a couple of years later.
Mm.
I Now, when I was little, I always wanted to be a cop. Okay,
Okay.
because it's always been me to reach out to help people. Okay, that's always been my
Right.
heart, and I think it's just because the way I'm wired, it is how God has made me.
Right.
I'm a very strong woman, got a lot of training under my belt, but I'm also very compassionate, especially when it comes to people, when it comes to
Right.
helping people, when it comes to somebody that is in need. If I can help a person, I'm going to help a person. And I used to watch all of these superhero movies. I used to watch a lot of cop movies and things of that nature. And of course, with grandparents or grandfather and uncles, being in the military in Germany
Right.
and here in the United States,
Right.
it made me start looking at, okay, what do I do with my life at that moment, at that time? And
Right.
so I decided to become a police officer, and went to the academy and did all of that. Um, I worked as a deputy clerk. I'm trying to think here, a deputy clerk,
Right.
and from there I worked as a desk officer, and
Okay.
then from there I went to patrol officer. So
Right.
I stayed in the security business as well. I've been doing security for a long time. And
Okay.
but in my heart, like I said, I've always had like this imagination when I was growing up. Wonder Woman, Superman, the old ones.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And so I always had this imagination. I used to always run around the house, pretending that I was one woman. What girl doesn't do that? Okay. But I've had this imagination where I would kind of put things together in my head. And as I got older, even though I was doing, some of the modeling, I was doing some of the security, I was doing police. I also got into dancing, salsa dancing, cha-cha. I was into my own health thing, like I said before. In high school, I
Right.
still carried that on. And but dance was really important to me. I kind of got out of the I forget what they call it now, hip hop dancing when I was younger, and I
Right.
was really drawn into the salsa, cha cha, merengue, things of
Right.
that nature because I'm very passionate, when it comes to love and romance, and salsa is
Right.
one of the most passionate and loving romantic dance between a man and a woman. So also something that I got into for a while, but I never did go pro on that.
Okay. So now,
Yeah.
what kind of made you decide to go from, because you're doing security, you're a police officer. You said you have some military background. What kind of drew you kind of away from that into getting into filmmaking? Was there like an incident or something happened, or somebody invited you on a movie, or how did that kind of transpire?
Um, Again, because I've always been into the whole superhero thing, I've always wanted to be an actress. You know, like way deep down inside, there's a lot of us out there that, okay, we just kind of choose to do something in life, whether it's security, management, marketing, whatever it is that you decide to do.
Right.
Um, in our hearts, we have something that we bury that we
Right.
want to do more than anything in this world. Now, outside of law enforcement, who wouldn't want to be an actress or an actor? And so, because of all of this, the superhero things and different movies that I would watch, like Vikings and martial art movies were my thing. Okay, I took some martial art, I took some taekwondo, karate, and I really just I thought, well, I'd love to do acting, but how do you do something like that? I always wondered, how do you get into something like that? And it felt like, even though I was doing a little bit of the modeling, it kind of felt like the guy that was helping me doing some of the freelancing and some of the other girls that I was working with, like he didn't want to really help me get into the whole acting thing, like go down that road. And so I guess I kind of buried that in my heart because I really didn't know which way to go. I didn't have any, mentors in my life at the time to help me, figure out how to go down that road. And then I was going to play a double for Vanessa Williams. I don't know if you've ever heard of her before. She's an actress, model, singer, dancer. Vanessa Williams. Who hasn't heard of her? Okay, she's beautiful. And I was going to end up doing a double, for her. And there was this casting in Chicago, and at the time I was married. Okay, and I remember going to stand in line. I don't remember exactly. I think I went in and they kind of looked me up and down or whatever. They were just kind of making people go through the lines like really, really fast and whatever. And something happened. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think I was going through divorce at that time or separation. And I just never went back, or something happened and it just fell through. So that was really heartbreaking for me, because that was really something that I wanted to do, because I've always had people tell me that I used to look like her, So, and then I got into acting 2021. That's when I kind of really jumped into it.
Okay. And I saw that you've done a couple of films already. And then you're working on a new one. So one of the things I do want to ask you, during that time, and and kind of switching, from the whole go from security and the military into acting, in just all the stuff you've been through, what do you think is the biggest lesson that you learned?
Well, let me say, military is in my family history. It's in my background. They're very strong men and women in my life. Okay. And what is the lesson that I've learned with everything that I've gone through up till now? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. What was the biggest?
Is that the question?
Yeah.
Okay. The biggest lesson that I learned was, because I grew up with a lot of anger. I had a lot of anger growing up. I was angry at my mother. I was angry at my father, just angry at the world because of everything that I had faced, and the fact that I felt that I was a good person, and why should you go through something like that? So there was a lot of mistrusting people, a lot of, I don't want to say hate, but I was the type of person where I had so much, bad things like happen to me as anybody else, that I didn't really like people. I kind of stuck to
Right.
myself, if that
Yeah.
makes any sense. So the
Yeah.
biggest thing I think I have learned through mentors as well, basically is be yourself. Okay. Be yourself, be loving, be kind to people no matter what. Okay.
Right.
Um, the number one thing that I learned was this. This is the number one thing, and that is I learned to forgive,
Mm.
because forgiving somebody is not for them.
Right.
Forgiving somebody who's your past and the things that have happened, it's not for them. It's for
Right.
you. It's for you to grow, and it's for you to mature. And to be honest with you, when I chose to forgive my mom, my pops, for because I felt like he abandoned me when my
Right.
parents split up. Um, everything that has happened to me in life, in my previous marriage, just everything. I feel that forgiveness and letting
Right.
those things go has allowed me to feel and to be free and to be me.
Right.
Those are the biggest lessons that I've learned. Yeah.
Wow. And what you're saying, like, is right on the spot. A lot of people go through things, and they harbor, kind of that bitterness, and it takes them a
Yeah.
while to get over things, but they don't realize, like you're saying, that the only one you're really hurting is you, because most of the time the
Hmm.
people that you're angry with don't even know you're even mad at them. And sometimes, even if
Yeah.
they do know that you're mad at them, it doesn't really affect them. You know, um,
Mhm.
so that holding that bitterness is just, um, it's stressful. It brings a lot of stress, and then
Mhm.
uh, your health. It brings down your health. There's so many negative parts to being, having that bitterness and stuff. So
Exactly.
yeah, and from everything that you've gone through, and people can say, I understand why she was bitter, why she was angry, but at the same time, I agree with you that, for your own, um, your own benefit, you have to let
Hmm.
it go. You have to let that go.
Yeah, and also for your own mental health as well, because like you
Right.
were saying, holding on to bitterness and anger can cause
Right.
the person mentally to lose it after some time. You can't think, you can't focus, um, and you end up, just basically being stuck in life. And that's not something
Right.
that I wanted. Even though there are many times in my life I have felt stuck. Okay.
Right.
What do we know? You get down, you get stuck, you get right back up, you get right back into the ring, and you start fighting, you start punching. You punch your way out. You believe, you have hope. And not only that, it's being able to spread it to other people as well. Being able
Right.
to, that was one of the other things that really helped me, is that I was able to encourage other people, not really thinking so much about my own problems, my own situations. And I learned to step outside of, the box and my
Right.
boundaries. And I learned to reach out to, whether they were middle age or old people. I learned to help to counsel, because I also counsel people as well. Um,
Right.
but I learned to love people where they are. Okay, to love
Right.
them where they are, because the people that come into my life, they were mentors, and these mentors, they loved me where I was. They didn't judge me. Okay,
Right.
they didn't hate me. They didn't put me down. They loved me where I was, and because of that, it caused me to eventually blossom into the
Right.
woman that I am today.
You bring up two good points about that, because one, when you harbor that bitterness, it affects everything that you do. It affects future
Mhm.
relationships. It affects jobs. It affects you wanting to get into like acting. Because you're
Yes.
stuck in that kind of mind frame. The second thing too, is that we go through things, in life, the struggles we go through, and you're talking about how you're able to take that and talk to other people. Sometimes the things that we go through isn't just for us to learn and grow, but it's to be able
Mhm.
to have that story, that journey, that's part of us, where we reach out to other people who are going through the same thing because you've been through it, so you could go talk to to a younger kid who may be caught up in the foster system because you can relate to them because you've been through it. And once you're able to forgive and kind of get rid of that bitterness, it makes it it's where you're more open to be able to share that information, and work with somebody who's going through something similar.
And my thing that I've learned is that when I'm stuck or hurt, whatever it is, whatever situation that I'm going through, I have found that when I have stepped out and helped to encourage someone, build somebody up, that day, that there have been many times when people have, been on the verge of suicide.
Wow.
Yeah. Like they've shared with me that they were thinking of suicidal thoughts because of whatever was going on in their life, and being able to love that person where they are and to encourage and build them up, to strengthen them. It made me feel good. Another life that maybe, has been saved, because even in law enforcement, you're saving lives all the time. Sometimes you're saving a cat, maybe on the side of the road, but for the most part, it is giving of your life. When you put that badge on, when you put that gun on, when you raise your hand and you're sworn in, you are basically saying that I surrender my life to give my life, to lay my life down for another. So it's not just about law enforcement. It's not just about fire, security, military. Anything that a person is doing, may be an innocent bystander, and somebody is being harmed, or a child is being harmed, and you step in. That may be the day that you give your life for that person. So are you willing to do that? Are you willing to lay your life down? Right? Because God loved us first. And so we love everyone else. And that means that love extends to any and everybody, meaning that you're also willing again to lay down your life for someone.
Wow. That's incredible. And I think what's really cool about your journey is, like I said, you starting at a young age, you could have taken a whole different road. Especially growing up in Chicago and being around all the influences that you were around, you could take a whole different road. But you decided to, to use it for a positive, getting involved in security and in law enforcement and do the military. Now you're able to turn around and use it to help others, who are struggling. So that's awesome. That's a powerful testimony, of you've been through and how you've been able to turn that around. So now I want to talk about the films that you're getting into. So now you're starting to be able to get more into your passion in the films. I saw that you've done 2 films now, or have you done more?
Yes, The Last Evangelist TV series. I play the role of a cop. Go figure. Okay, and loved working on the set with them. It was amazing, and I met a lot of wonderful people, which you always do when you're on set.
Right.
Andrew Jacob Brown is the producer of Piercing Wound. He's got some other movies out there. I'm sorry, I can't think of them right now because I got my camera rolling in my head with all that. I was recently in Piercing Wounds.
Right.
And that was October of last year. And, when I was there, I had to push my way through, because when I came out of law enforcement, well, I've been in law enforcement 2 times. Let me just say that. Okay. But, and then security, of course, a supervisor. And then that was like last year. Okay. And then I started my own armed security services. But
Oh, wow.
I haven't really had any armed security contracts, and so that's been a little difficult. But I keep my head up. It's what it is. And when I went last year, I was really going through a lot. Like I said, I'm a health fitness nut, but
Right.
I had kind of like let myself go, and I mean, I wasn't like expanding or anything, but
Right.
I I stopped working out, and everybody goes through different seasons and cycles of their lives, okay? But
Right.
I stopped working out as much, and I was going thing trying to find myself, okay?
Right.
And when I was invited to the last evangelist, I had wanted to, I really was wanting to get into the whole acting. Here it is again, all these feelings and emotions, wanting to do this so desperately outside of the
Right.
movie that I have, my own movie. And then it's
Right.
almost as if, boom, the door just opened up, for the TV series, film with them on a couple bases. And like my heart, imagination in my heart started to grow, and I was like, this can really happen, because a lot of times people think that it's too late.
Yeah.
For me to do this, it's too late, because I'm not 30 years old anymore. Okay, it.
Right.
But we start thinking that it's too late.
Right.
And when the door opened up for me, I was like, no, it's not too late. This is still my dream. I can still do this.
Right.
And so it seems like, little by little, like these doors have began to open for me. And then I got a hold of Andrew Jacob Brown. Love him. Shout out to you, bro, if you're listening to this. And we started talking about piercing wounds. And
Right.
he invited me to come down there. I was really sick. I had like a sinus infection. My face was swollen. It was really bad. I had a upper respiratory infection. I had water in the ear infection, and on top of that, I was really like bloated. Like I was not well at all. I
Right.
looked sickly. But you know what? The thing is that one of the things one of my old chiefs told me, and a sergeant, you never
Right.
give up. When you fall,
Right.
you get back up, you keep going until you reach the finish line. And so I pushed my way through, to film with Andrew, and absolutely loved it. They were just him and his wife Angie. I love them. Become very good friends with them. Was able to work with again a lot of new people on set, even though I was not well. Kind of pulled it off and made me look halfway decent. But yeah, and so that has opened up, and then whenever you want me to talk about it, then came this recent movie, David.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about David. I've seen a lot of people posting that going to be in this movie, so I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
So, are you able to tell us a little bit about what the movie's about?
Uh, uh, you
I know
just like a tad bit. It's basically, if anybody out there knows anything about the Bible, then it's basically the true story of King David.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, so it's gonna be
That's
based
my
on that. Awesome. Yeah, I see.
Yes.
I have a lot of friends that's going to be in that. So yeah, I'm really interested
Really?
in seeing. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, I'm excited about that. And that was even like a shocker for me how that came about. But I'm excited about it.
Cool. Yeah, that's one of those movies too. That I'm too. Now, on top of that, you have a movie that you're trying to work on. Your own movie.
hmm
Are you?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, are you able to talk about it about the movie you're working?
I can't give you the title of the movie,
Okay.
but let me see. So in 2000, and it was either 2002, I started writing the script, and I sat down at my computer at the time. At the time, I was married, and I just started writing. Like I just allowed my imagination to open up, and I began to write. I finished the script in 2003 and had it registered with the WGA. And like any script, like any movie, any producer, actor, writer, the years went by and it was on the shelf, and then you take it off the shelf and then you put it back on the shelf again. And in 20, I don't think it was that last year. No, it was 2020. I think it was 2021. I'm not exactly sure. I took it off of the shelf because I had a feeling to take it off the shelf and do some things, legally that I needed to get done and updated. So I made sure that it was registered with the WGA. And then I started to look at having a copyright, just for that extra protection. And so I ended up getting, the actual script copyrighted. A old friend of mine, an old ex-friend of mine, I won't go into detail about that, but she, like, I had my costumes and I would tell her like what I wanted, describe to her what I wanted for the costumes, and she was able to draw up 3 costumes for me, and they look really, 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 really good. Okay. It's a sci-fi action feature film. Motion movie, I'm sorry, a sci-fi motion movie. So basically, I can't tell you this. It is evidently a superhero movie. Okay, so if you imagine me writing this back in 2002, 2003, then it came out before all of the Marvel, and I am a Marvel fan. Okay. And so over the last maybe years, since last year, beginning of last year, I took it out and I started like thinking about all of these other things that I wanted to now add into the movie. Mermaids and giants and different things that, this is going to be like crazy. There's a lot of things that like I said, I'm tweaking in the script because there's a lot of things that I want in the script as well. And so recently I was able to bring on another good friend of mine. He is a movie producer, actor, script writer, all of the above. His name is Mike Fox of Crystal Fox Films. And I was able to sign him on as my co-director.
Oh, wow.
So I am the director. He is my co-director. I'm not looking to sell the script. I'm looking to have it make it. Okay. Because I already know the money that's going to come out of this. And I want to also turn it into maybe like a cartoon series, comic book or something like that. So what else? I have a producer that I actually going to be talking to him probably around 8:00 this evening. And he's a producer, like I said. He's got some scripts that he's going to want me to play. I can't really say because I don't have permission, but certain casting roles in his movies, a couple of different movies that he and I are talking about. He's wanting to kind of come alongside and be the producer also of my movie. So we're going to be talking about that later this evening. And then I talked to James Stokes yesterday, and I was telling him about it because he was saying that he's going to be coming to my area in a month or so. And we might end up getting together to just kind of go out for like that and like talk about scripts and whatnot, and maybe how I can, have him a part of the movie, even play a role in the movie or something like that. So, and then he was asking, and he's like, well, I don't know if I have permission to say it, but anyway, he wants to kind of be there to kind of help out with some things. So, very nice man, let me tell you. And I love the fact that he's buff. Okay. He's a buff guy. Like, I wouldn't go up against him unless I had some nunchucks or if I had my M16. Otherwise, I'm not as stupid. I would be ducking and running, okay? Because he's a big dude.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys haven't seen the interview I did with him a couple days ago, actually,
Mhm.
super nice guy. Uh,
Yes.
and then he's so passionate too. Um, you
Hmm.
know, when you go back and watch that interview, but super passionate about
Yeah.
the whole bullying thing.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
bullying. I don't say bullying thing. The bullying in
Mhm.
school and how kids treat each other, and
Mhm.
so he's
Yes. Oh,
he's
yeah.
super
That's one of the
passionate.
things I loved about him is his passion about the bullying. And you know why? Because I dealt with that in school.
Yeah,
I dealt with bullying in school, and I literally like fought my way through school, because you're always an idiot. You're always going to have some moron out there, that they don't know any better. They've gone
right,
through something in their lives, maybe like a parent that has put them down, verbally abusing them, or, alcohol abuse or whatever. And so they
right,
don't know any other thing to do except for to bully someone because this is what they see in their homes.
right.
And so I dealt with that in high school, in grade
Mm,
school. At the high school, though, like I said, I was pretty stocky girl, so I was ready to like, punch her face in if I had to.
right.
But it wasn't my character. You know what I mean? My first thing
Yeah,
was talk things through, and if you have to, you battle. That you when you battle, it's the last option, and
yeah,
that are the things that my sensei, my martial arts teacher, never use your fist first. This is what you
right.
use first, and you include your heart.
Exactly. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
kind of like I said, I grew up on that area too, and
yeah.
it's just a rough place to grow up. You know, just
Hmm.
that area itself, just a rough place to grow up. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's and I think it's um, when I look at these kids that are bullying, I think a lot of it has to do with all the stuff they're dealing with at home too. I think they kind of just
Exactly.
plays out,
Hmm.
you know. So,
Hmm.
but yeah. So let me ask you this: I know that you're getting into the acting. And you're looking to do your own film. Um, if you is there like a particular role that you would love to do?
Outside of the superhero character,
Yeah,
are
I
you
mean,
asking me outside of that?
yeah,
Yes. Okay. I've got like that warrior type spirit, evidently, you know what I mean?
right,
But I'm also very soft. I know how to be a warrior and I know how to turn it off
mhm,
and I know how to be a woman. Okay. It's kind of like that whole beauty and beast thing going on, if that makes sense. Okay.
right,
And I've always wanted to play, and this may sound a little funny, but like a strong elf queen,
okay,
warrior elf queen.
right,
Like Lord of the Rings, you know how you see the elf queen in there? Yeah.
right,
So I've always wanted to play a role like that with swords.
okay,
But when I got the swords, my sensei would not allow me to pick up a sword. And when I asked him why, he says, because you're crazy. And so I never got to the sword fighting, but it's just always something about, and my son is the same way. He loves samurai. He
mhm,
loves anything with martial arts. And, but I'd love to do something like that. I myself, sort of, all in the whole glittery
right,
thing. And I don't know if you saw it. I look like it's an elf, me looking like an elf. So,
right,
yeah, I would love to play a role like that, but a strong, like I said, a strong warrior or like queen elf type thing.
right,
Anything in like warrior mode. I grew up watching Xena and Hercules, so
right,
Xena was my girl. So
mhm,
that's the type of woman that I actually am. And so I
right.
would love to play a role
Like that, and then you were talking about being into like the whole Viking, like watching the Vikings and stuff like that. I can see you doing a role like that too. Have you seen
uh,
the Vikings on
what movie is it? What did you say?
the television series The Vikings?
I have not. My son has watched that movie or series, and he's told me about
Right.
it. And I've got a couple times of watching it. And it's so funny that you say that because as I was talking the whole thing, a Xena warrior princess, superhero, I
Right.
I also was like queen or warrior as well. And then you just said it out of your mouth. So
Right.
yeah, these are just like roles that I would absolutely love to play. And like I said, I'm very also romantic. So I can flip that script real quick and then I can do
Right.
like a Hallmark, romance movie as well. Um,
Right.
yeah, it's going to be interesting doing the whole David thing because I'm playing David's wife, Abigail. And
Okay.
huh?
That's cool.
Yeah, and so there's got to be like a little lovey-dovey type scene and whatever. And
Right.
yeah, so that'll be different.
Cool. Talking about that, I have a friend. His name's Misal um, Lopez Cordoza, who is actually in the Vikings. Um,
Okay.
I want to introduce you to him at some
Yeah.
point. So because I can see the two of you guys
Okay.
in the show together. So
And
when we get off
is he a
the
producer or
he's an actor. So he
okay?
was actually he played one of the kings. He played one of the
Wow.
kings in the
Okay.
series The Vikings.
What? Get out of here. Are you
Yeah,
serious?
so awesome guy, and so he lives in Holland. He's from Holland, and
Hmm.
he actually teaches sword fighting. He's
Nah.
even knighted. He's knighted out there too. So yeah, so probably I gotta send you his information so you guys can meet because that'd be awesome.
Yeah, nice.
So
Yeah, you get like a whole bunch of like the actors and stuff and just kind of do like a whole bunch of us together so that we can kind of, come up with great thoughts and imaginations. Great minds do think alike.
right, and
Yeah.
then I'll get with I have a friend his name's Sean Cronin, who's also a director from London. He's actually doing a film
Mhm.
right now, and he plays like notorious for playing like the bad guy in like The Mummy, in Mission Impossible, Harry Potter.
Mhm.
So he's like he normally plays like the villain, but he's also a really an incredible director too. So I gotta get the three of you
Right.
guys together. You guys
Well,
need to
I'm
do a
looking
film.
definitely looking for casting roles. I
Yeah.
know that the one role that the producer that I'm good friends with, who is going to be helping me with my own movie script,
Right.
he's kind of got, like I said, I can't really say anything because I don't have permission. But with me being, ex-police, current
Right.
police, security, doing all that, whatever. He
Right.
or ex-police, I'm sorry, he's going to probably put me in some type of role like that. So I'm actually looking for, casting roles. If you know of anybody that is casting, that would be great. That'd be great. And like I said, I also do armed security services. So that's when I have to take off the jewelry,
Right.
roll up the hair, not so much makeup. Then I got to put on, because I have my own uniform that I use for my armed security services, like a contractor.
Right.
So, somebody wants to hire me. So I go rogue, basically.
Wow. Well, cool. So let me ask you this: if you could give our audience a piece of advice, someone who's trying to get into acting, or even somebody who's gone through or going through some of the things that you've gone through, what would that advice be?
Never give up. Never give up. I think there's a song out there, Never Give Up. Also, Carrie Underwood, if you know her song,
Mhm.
Champion.
Right.
Yeah. If you look at her video, the actual video that she made for that, I
Right.
believe that there are in the boxing ring,
Right.
boxing, you're knocked down. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Always get back up. Keep breathing, keep focused. I think focus is the key. Faith and focus is the key. Let me say it like that. That is so important. At least for me, I have to put those two things together because without my faith, I'm nothing.
Right.
And when I say my faith, I mean my faith in God.
Right.
Without my faith, I'm nothing. Without Him in my life, I am nothing. So then you have to have focus. You have to be determined. It's kind of like, I don't like bulldogs, but it's kind of like a bulldog. If you dangle meat or a bone in front of a bulldog long enough,
Right.
that bulldog's going to take a hold of that, grasp a hold of that bone or that meat.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what you do, he's not going to let go. And with those types of dogs, their jaws will lock. You
Right.
literally have to get something to put in there to open those jaws. I believe that's the dog. Okay, the bulldog, I believe.
Yeah.
So basically,
the pit
yeah.
bull. It's like pit bull.
Pit bull, yes.
Yeah.
Pit bull.
Right.
And so basically it's the same thing with, whatever you're looking for, whatever you want to do in life, you
Right.
got to take a hold of it. You got to take a bite out of it. You got to hold on to it, grasp it. And
Right.
no matter what, you cannot let that go. You cannot let your dreams, your visions go, because there's a lot of people out here that have so many talents, so many giftings. And I see so many people, they are wasting their giftings. They're wasting their talents. Why? A lot of it has to do with, you've got the wrong people speaking in your ear parts. You have the wrong people speaking into your heart, speaking into your life. And this is why I say you also have to be very careful as to who you are keeping company with, because bad company will corrupt good morals. If you are a good person, you have good morals, and you're hanging around the wrong crowd, guess what? Eventually, you're going to start acting like them. You're going to start feeling and thinking and doing like them. So you have to have that determination, no matter what.
Right.
You are going to hang around. A lion doesn't go and hang around a cougar, does he? No. A lion doesn't hang around a jackal,
right,
or a kangaroo or a giraffe.
right,
What does a lion hang around? Lions hang around lions.
right,
Lioness, the female lioness, she hangs around other lioness, right?
Right.
Hang
Right.
around with others who are like-minded, who are strong in their minds. They have the strength, and even when they're down, they're going to go to the other lion or lioness and they're going to encourage them, get back up. You are not going to quit today. That's one of the things that I do know in boot camp. They tell you, you get up and you keep running, you keep going, no matter what. This is what I want to encourage people, no matter what it is that
Right.
you're going through in life, no matter how you see yourself, because everyone sees themselves to some degree in a way that they don't like.
Right.
Every woman does. There are so many beautiful women out there that are more beautiful than me. And I want to encourage other beautiful women that, guess what? They have their own talents, their own giftings. We shouldn't be competing with one another. We should be encouraging and uplifting one another. And the same thing with men. You're going to always have a better, good looking with a better face or better body or whatever. But
Right.
we can all bring our talents together. We can all be strong together. And so be who you are. Be strong here and in your heart.
Right.
And always, no matter what life does, no matter how life knocks you down, you keep back up and you keep going.
Awesome. That's great advice too. And and what I tell people too is don't compete with other people, because God created you, and I say this all the time, God created you with the with a unique purpose, and no one could do what you were created to do. So you can't compete with anybody else. You can only be you,
Exactly.
and live out your purpose and your passion that God gave you.
Exactly.
So
yes, because that's what you will work better in. You will work better in that arena of being who you are and who He has created you to be. That's where your giftings and talents will explode, because you are different, and every person is different, and every person is unique in their own way.
Right. And instead of competing with each other, work with each other, because that only just makes us stronger.
Exactly. Because you know what? It's like this. Every gift, like you have a gift, the things that you are doing on your channel and your giftings are bringing other people together in a different way than maybe I am, or maybe we have similar giftings and we're bringing people together. Everyone's gift brought together, that's how we will make it as a whole. No man is an island. And if you
That's
want to
right.
be an island, then you're going to end up an island by yourself and alone. No man is an island. So work together. No matter your color, no matter the creed, no matter ethnicity, God created everyone. Black,
Exactly.
brown, white, polka dot, it doesn't matter. He created everyone. And so we work together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I always say this too, that, people always fight to get to the top of the mountain, but, if you're the only one at the top of that mountain, that's going to be a very lonely place. So,
Yes, exactly.
So,
yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Oh, one of the things that I wanted to ask before we go is, if somebody's trying to, follow you in your journey, if you're new, your films and things that you're working on, what's the best way for them to reach you?
They can reach me either on Facebook under Leora Levi, and then in quotation Rosenburg, Rosenburg. So most Jewish people have two names. Leora Levi is my Hebrew given name. Leora Rosenburg is my English name. So I just kind of mess people up all the time. I just switch around and do all kind of crazy stuff with my name, as we say. But they can either reach me on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, and I can give you my call. I don't know what they call it. Your call. What is it? Your call name or whatever.
Right.
I don't. Okay, so it's Leora, Leora Rosenburg, Rosenburg, and then the number 8. And so they can reach me there. And then also I have a YouTube channel. It's called Faith-Based Films, Lifestyle, and Entertainment.
Okay. And what we're going to do is we'll put that in the detail section so people can also see it there.
Yeah, and then you can give out my email because, like I said, I also do the armed security service. So if somebody wants to hire me as an armed security contractor, they can, email me. Now I get a lot of hackers and spam. And let me let you know if you send me some stupid stuff like that.
Right.
And so the way I have my email set up, and unfortunately, I usually investigate, stuff. So, and sometimes I run things by, my chief, my old chief, and get his opinion on something. But they can also email me. Leora belongs to YAH@AOL.com.
Okay, cool. And so we'll put that on there as well. So awesome. Right?
Yeah, that's spelled. Yeah, because that's spelled different.
Okay. So yeah.
Oh no. Are you there? Okay.
Yeah. For some reason, your feed keeps cutting out. It keeps freezing. So.
I'm not freezing on my end. Am I still freezing now?
You're okay now. So you were saying something about your email.
Yeah. So Leora, my email is spelled with a Liora instead of the way my name is spelled. Yeah. So I just want to clarify that.
Okay, cool. And I'll just make sure that we put that in the details as well. So, well, thank you so much for being on the show today. It was an honor and a privilege to be able to get to sit down and talk to you about your journey. And again, just thank you so much for being on.
It's my pleasure. Thank you again for inviting me on. This was great. I was really excited about this. I believe this is gonna lead to new avenues, and again, always meeting new people. It's wonderful to meet you, Parks. Thank you for introducing me also to James. Like I said, wonderful man. And yeah, so I'm hoping maybe we can do this again. I'll probably have to have you on my program next. How about that?
Awesome. Yeah, just tell
Yeah,
me and I'll be there.
yeah, we can set something up
Awesome.
and mix on and maybe another person, because I like to have multiple people
Yeah,
come in and everybody to give their perspectives and acting and producing and things of that nature. So yeah, thank you. I really did have a good time today.
awesome. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Thank you
Okay.
guys for joining us. Make sure you guys go and visit her sites, and then keep an eye on the new movies that she has coming out, like David. And then I'm excited about her superhero movies too. So, and then hopefully we can make some more connections with some of the other people. So I'd love to see her in a Viking movie. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
that would be fun. So, all right, guys. Until the next time, remember you are uniquely designed with a purpose, and always keep moving forward. Peace.